everyone, welcome into the Flippin Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star. If you're new here or you haven't already, please consider subscribing and helping us feed a hungry hippo. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up. So today we're going to talk about wrapping up the end of the summer months, going into Q4, and how to get prepared for that. I have 10 tips, activities. They're not really tips, but they're like 10 suggested activities for you to do as you wrap up the end of Q3, moving towards Q4. It is only August. It's still back to school time. So you may be asking yourself, why is she doing a Q4 video in August? Because as of today, we have only 42 days until October 1st. That's the beginning of Q4. We have 42 days to get our acts together, to get prepared, and to be ready for Q4. We don't know what Q4 is going to look like this year. In fact, ever since 2020, when we had the shutdown for the COVID virus, every Q4 has been unprecedented and different than all of those that came before it. It's like there's no real pattern anymore. We don't really have a way of predicting what they're going to be like. Prior to 2020, Q4s were pretty much all alike. You sold more, you made more money, you were more busy. I could have told you what categories sold best, but every year has been different. 2020 was great. You guys may remember that as the golden age of reselling. Everyone was home, everyone was bored, everyone had stimulus money, and people were shopping. That was a great time for resellers. And then that kind of dried up in 21, and then moving forward, each year has just been so vastly different. And like I said, unprecedented. I can't predict anything about this year, what's going to happen. All I can do is get ready like I've always done. It's better to be prepared than not. You know, the Boy Scouts say always prepared. So I would rather be prepared. You know, and these things I'm going to go over with you are things you should be doing anyway. And the best time I feel is at the end of Q3. Regardless of what else is going on in the world, the economy, people's finances, how many people have discretionary funds to just open up their wallet and start shopping willy-nilly. Regardless of all of that, Q4 will be a busy month for most of us. I will put an asterisk on that and say a lot of times for used clothing sellers, we'll see a huge uptick in Q1 going into the new year. And I think that's because a lot of people get gifted cash or money for the holidays, and then they go on shopping sprees for themselves. And they start losing weight and they have all those resolutions and they're just buying new clothes. They're buying activewear. They're buying workout wear. So there is some truth to resellers that sell clothing having a good Q1. But I think Q4 is busy for everyone. And unfortunately, you know, it needs to be said that most Americans are irresponsible with their money and their debt and their credit cards. And when Christmas comes around, they're going to spend money whether or not they have it. So you want to make sure that you're prepared for that. And doing these tasks, like I said, they should be done maybe once a year anyway, just to refresh, renew, reorganize your business. And this is a good time to do it. Summer is slow. There's always the summer slowdown. And going into Q4, you'll be organized, you'll be ready. When you sell more, you're shipping more. When you sell more, you have to list more to keep your numbers up. So you will be more busy and you will have less time to do things like organize your shipping station, right? And then after Q4 is over, sometimes we are all a little bit of a mess and discombobulated. When you get busy, it's easy to get disorganized. When you're during the summer slowdown, it is very easy to do your shipping and then organize your shipping station every single day and keep up on your listings and keep up on your death pile. That's a no-brainer. When you're super busy, sometimes things fall behind a shelf and you don't care because you're busy. Sometimes you just don't organize your shipping station every day. So, you know, there's a time after Q4 where you'll want to clean up again. But this is a really good time to get things ready. So I have 10 tips here. Let's just talk about them, okay? So we have 42 days, and hopefully you've been doing this consistently enough all year, and hopefully you watched my summer slowdown video when I was already kind of gearing you guys up to start doing these tasks. Number one, you want to make sure that you have a good inventory system in place. Regardless of what you sell, You need to have a system in place so that when something does sell, you can look at the SKU line or wherever you keep the location for the item in your listing and go where you store this. I mean, some folks have a garage, basement, warehouse, storage unit, a spare bedroom, a spare closet, but wherever you store it, you need to be walking and pull it off. So if I sold this eBay tumbler tonight, I should be able to look at my listing tomorrow morning, see a location, go to my garage and pull it right off and have it ready to ship. If I am digging through boxes, searching through crates, looking through shelves, I am wasting time. Folks who sell clothing, you really need a good inventory system. That's one that can get really disorganized and become a time-consuming stress black hole very quickly. You want to have a good system. A lot of resellers, including myself, will have bins that are either lettered or numbered, and within the bins, you'll have letters or numbers. So, for instance, our bin A has A1 through A20, and we put those numbers on the bags. I have them right here, and we reuse them. So, if I'm taking photographs and setting my items aside, we do store them in the poly bags. So the next pair of jeans I photograph will get C15 as its location. That will go in the SKU line. The jeans will go in bin C, standing up, in slot 15. I say slot. You can stand your clothing up most of the time, especially if you do jeans. You can toss them in there if you want, but you just want them in there. When they sell, I'll be able to see this in the SKU line. I'll know those jeans are in bin C and they're 15. I'll pull them out, pull this off, put this back in my bag, ship those jeans, then I reuse this. The reason we do that system is, one, it's super organized and easy to deal with, but we're constantly reusing our tags. And that way we're not constantly creating new bins. In the beginning, when we first started reselling, we'd fill a bin, buy a bin, fill a bin, buy a bin, fill a bin, because we didn't have any bins. So we started at A, and now we are all the way through A through Z, and then we have A1 through A0, and we have that on each number up through F, I believe. So you want to keep reusing these because you don't want to keep building on the end. You're not utilizing your space. So have some sort of tag system like this where you can reuse them. And it's not as easy with Plush, but you can't have them all in one bin or one like big Ikea bag. We have the big, not like the bags you think of when you see resellers going to the post office, that tote where you put your shipping in. I'm talking like they have rectangular zip around bags, and actually Amazon has a knockoff version that's a lot cheaper, and you can buy them in lots. I think it's like 5 up to like maybe 15 in a pack. Let me make myself a note and I will put that in the description box for you. So Plush bags, they're really inexpensive on Amazon, and they're good for other things too. You can use them for a lot. So another instance is comic books. You want to have them in boxes, probably alphabetized. Shoes, hard goods, things like that. You want to have them organized on shelves, and you can label the shelves just like they would if any of you have experience in retail, which I do. In the back, they would have, SKU lines on the shelves, so you can write shelf A, shelf B, so on and so forth. But make sure that you have a very good system in place. That should be a number one priority for all resellers all the time, regardless of the time of year or what quarter we're in. Nothing wastes time more than looking for something when it's sold. You should seriously be able to look at the location, go grab it, and ship it, no problem. If that's not happening, if you're losing items, if you can't find them, if you spend 15 minutes, you have an issue, and you may want to take the next 42 days to fix your system and get it organized so that when Q4 comes around, you are not wasting time and unnecessarily stressing yourself out beyond what you need to be. The second thing you should be doing is getting a shipping station organized. This goes in the same hand of you should be able to pull an item and ship it very easily. Shipping should be a very streamlined, stress-free process. You should have your inventory system and your shipping station set up so that you could almost do this autopilot. Like, you should be able to wake up in the morning, still half asleep, and stumble around and be able to do this. That's how good your inventory system and shipping station should be set up. And also, it should be so someone else can step in and do it. My friend Trish from Most Perfectly always tells folks that she's teaching or helping that. You should have your inventory system and your shipping station set up so that if anything were to happen to you, anything at all, someone, a family member or a friend could just step in and take over for you and get your items shipped, keep your business running, keep your sales going, and you wouldn't have to shut down for any reason because you have it set up so organized, so streamlined that anybody could come in and figure it out. There's a SKU line, there's the location, here's the shipping station. It should be set up so that someone could take over for you if something were to happen to you, like an accident or you had to unexpectedly go out of town. But it should be set up for you so that you don't have to think about it. You don't have to stress about it. You don't have to waste time. I want you guys to be stress-free, not just in Q4. I say this all the time, but we are our own business owners. We are our own bosses so that we can have stress-free lives and enjoy ourselves. So the shipping station, I don't know what you ship. I don't know what you sell. My store isn't your store, of course, but whatever you sell, if it's hard goods and you need to have packing paper and bubble wrap and boxes and tape, get it organized. Your shipping station can be a corner of your home office, a corner of your garage, a corner of your basement, wherever you want to set it up. Some folks that do have storage units or warehouses like offsite out of their house will set it up there. But just set it up for you because, again, I don't know what you're shipping or what you're using. Our shipping station is really just this white table behind me. This white table is so versatile. I use this table to do my measurements, my photographs, drag stuff over here for haul videos. I use it for shipping. And it just kind of gets pulled around all day. So you can get something like that. It does not have wheels. I'll put that in the description box for you as well. Let me type myself a note. It's like, I think it was $30 when we bought it. It also folds up. We have one of these in the garage and we have one in here in the office. It folds up with a little handle and you can set it aside or carry it around. I leave it out all the time. So at the end of my workday, that actually gets pushed over towards the closet where we have the shelf. That's our shipping station. And then after shipping each morning, it kind of gets pulled out in the middle of the room and whatever I'm working on that day gets put on it. So that's something you can do as well. You don't have to have like a station. You can absolutely have a stationary shipping station. I've seen people who have built stuff or just use tables with cubby holes above it with all of their supplies. And there's folks like me who have like one wall of my closet is a shelf that's organized with poly bags by size. I have my tissue paper there. I don't really use that a lot, but eBay gives it out free for going to events a lot. So I have a ton of it. We have tape. We have the very small boxes. We don't use a lot of those. We have like all of our different bubble wraps and things like that. So whatever we use for what we ship specifically is organized on this shelf. When we come in here in the morning, this table's over there. When we're done shipping, the table comes over here and it becomes a versatile tool for me to use for measurements and photographs and everything I do. And I like that because I like something that can work for more than one thing. If I had a table that sat in one spot and then another table for photographs, that seems like, I don't know, maybe I'm a minimalist, but that seems like a waste. I want a table I can lug around and do all the things with. Like I said, it's not on wheels. I do have hardwood floors, so it just slide around for me. But the thing is like 2 pounds. So even if you had carpet, you could lift it up. It's not heavy. So your shipping station, any supplies that you use on a regular basis should be on a shelf, on a table, somewhere in a corner of your living room. I don't care, but get it organized. You need tape, you need scissors, anything you need. Get it organized. So again, you can pull the item from your inventory system, bring it to your station, and get it shipped. Thermal printer, did I mention that? Those are so important. I just put up a post. If you're in my Facebook group, Flippin Hippos Reseller Pod, I just put up a post in there yesterday about getting ready for Q4. And I gave links to several different models of thermal printers that a lot of resellers like. Okay, so on the heels of your shipping station, number 3 is to take notes and order your supplies now for 2 reasons. One, you want to have all of the supplies you need and you want to have everything at hand when Q4 hits. You don't want to run out. But also, the closer we get to Q4, the longer shipments are going to take. It just is. What we ship to our buyers is going to take longer to get to them. And what we order ourselves from Amazon or eBay or HIPPO shipping or wherever you get your supplies, Bubble Boy, that's going to take a lot longer to get to you, right? It just is. Shipments take longer in Q4 because more people are shipping stuff. So get it now. Go through your shipping station. If you don't have one set up yet, go set one up. And as you're setting it up, do you need paper for your thermal printer? Do you need poly bags? Do you need tape? Take notes. Order those items now. Order in bulk. Order from places that are cheap. I usually get most of our stuff from Amazon or for free on eBay with our shipping coupon. So use your Q3 quarterly free shipping supplies coupon on eBay now. And then on October 1st, you can use your Q4 one right away. So you can almost like back to back double up on your supplies to get ready for Q4. So order something now and then order something in October and keep track with, like I said, take notes. You can do it on your phone. You can be old fashioned like me and carry a notebook around. So the fourth tip is to do an inventory audit. It's kind of late to start one now to be done before Q4. Unless you only have a couple hundred items, you could probably do it. We have only 42 days, like I said. But I would suggest starting one now, even if you can't finish it. You'll finish it eventually, and inventory audits are super important. You should be doing 2 a year minimum. Some people do them once a quarter. Some people only do them once a year. It kind of also depends on how much inventory you have. We now have 5,000 active listings on eBay. So it's going to take me a year probably to do one to get all the way through our inventory and back again, start over. I don't make it a priority unless, let me add an asterisk there. I don't make it a priority now. But when we were new to reselling, when we were first getting started, and also when we moved to Florida, and then when we moved back to Pittsburgh, we did 2 huge moves to a different state. We were finding a lot of mistakes. More so when we were new, because even when we moved, we managed to stay organized, but it happens when you move. If you're finding a lot of mistakes, if you're getting double sells, if you're selling stuff that's already sold, if you're spending hours looking for items once they've sold and you can't find them to get them, all that stuff. If you are just having issue after issue, you probably need to make your inventory audit a priority and just plow through as much of it as you can, double checking it. Some people will, I don't recommend this going into Q4, but some people will bomb their entire store, like end everything and then just relist items as they go through their bins of what was listed. That's really easy to do if you have a list perfectly, because all your items will still stay in your category, your catalog. So you can end everything on eBay and just simply relist it with a click of the mouse. But I don't recommend doing that right now. That's something you want to do like in the second or third quarters when sales are slower. But do one every year, at least at the minimum, And if you're finding a lot of mistakes, you're having a lot of issues, it's time to do an inventory audit and set up a better inventory system. The fifth tip I can tell you is to get through your death pile now. Anything that you've been sourcing in this quarter or since the beginning of the year needs to be listed now. You should have a system in place that if you do have a stockpile of inventory, you're doing first in, first out. So you should be listing the items that you sourced first. So anything you source this week should be listed before stuff you source next week. Makes sense? Because when you source items, you're probably comping them, or something that sells for you well. Something that sells well in July may not do as well in December. So you want them to be time sensitive. A lot of our jeans really aren't time sensitive, but I still like to do first in, first out. So everything we bring home that we source or that we buy wholesale kind of gets stored in the garage so that we know what we sourced in order. You want to put your newer stuff in the back and work your way through. First in, first out. Things can seasonally, fashion can change, seasonally can change. Prices can tank when people are turds and race to the bottom. So anything that's fresh that you've just brought home, you want to get listed. But if you already have stuff sitting there, you want to put it behind. So first in, first out. You don't want such a huge death pile that by the time you get through it, you're listing stuff you sourced a year ago or even 6 months ago. You want to kind of stay on top of your death pile. Personally, I don't think we should have huge death piles. And like I said, you shouldn't be listing stuff you sourced a year ago. Having a pile of inventory with intention is different, and that's going to be a different tip later on in this video. But work on your death pile now. Everything that you've already sourced, it's inventory that you've already spent money on. It's sitting there ready to be listed. There's no need to go out and spend more money on more inventory if you have inventory there. You guys were resellers. We're not hoarders. We don't shop for a living. People aren't paying us to go out to the thrift store and shop. They pay us when we get the items listed and we sell them. So get that inventory listed. Think of your death pile as money. You've put money into it. If it's just sitting somewhere in your house in a corner in the garage, think of that as a pile of money. Would you throw a couple $100 on the ground and ignore it and walk over it and walk around it and ignore it each day, or would you do something with it? So get that listed. There's no sense in buying more. Now, you may want to as we get into September, and we'll get into that with tip 7. But first, we've got tip 6, to create banks. So you've got all this inventory, and even if you don't have a death pile and you're still sourcing or buying wholesale, this will still apply to you, and this will apply to people who are working through their death pile. You want to create banks, okay? Life happens. I know there's people out there who say, I don't want to create a bank because if it's not listed, it's not making me money. And that's very true. But people who create banks are the same as people who only list each day. So for instance, we'll say that Tony Stark buys 100 pairs of jeans over here. And Deadpool buys 100 pairs of jeans over here. Now, Tony, because he's technologically inclined and he has created bots to help him list, has listed all 100 of his jeans, 10 a day, scheduled out for the next 10 days. Deadpool, well, he kind of messes around and he doesn't really want to work hard. He's sarcastic, he's fun, he's having fun. So he only wants to list 10 a day and then be done. So he, for the next 10 days, lists 10 pairs of jeans. They're both getting 10 pairs of jeans up each day for sale. The theory that what's listed isn't selling is true, but that's true for death piles. It's not true for banks, because Tony's jeans that are listed 10 a day for 10 days, it's the same exact thing as Deadpool over here, listing 10 each day and letting 90 sit in a pile, and the second day he's listing the next 10 and the 80 are in a pile. His 80 are still in a pile waiting to be listed daily. Tony's 80 are out the next 8 days. It's the same exact thing. And no one, at least I hope no one, is going to recommend that you bring your 100 pairs of jeans home and list them the day you get them and then don't list again for 10 days. You should be listing daily. Daily activity, and it doesn't matter which platform. This works for all selling platforms. In fact, this works for Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. It works for anything on the internet with an algorithm. Daily activity is essential. It helps you. It lets the algorithm and the bots know that you're active. An active store is a happy store, so you want to be listing every single day. You don't want to bring your 100 pairs of jeans home and list them in the first day because what's not listed isn't selling, because then the next 9 days, you're not going to have any activity, and your sales and your preferential treatment in the search engines and where you place and all that is going to go. So you do need to be listing every day. So your choice is to actively, physically come in your office and list every day, or get a bank. And I personally like banks because, like I said, life happens. The reason Keith and I have banks and items scheduled on eBay 21 days out is because we learned the hard way. Between moving twice, as I mentioned earlier, between last year we had a lot of things come up with family, and our car broke down and we had to go buy a new one. That's a whole process, by the way. There were a lot of days that stuff wasn't getting done, and we definitely felt it. We definitely saw our sales go down. But when we're listing every single day, sales go up. Activity, activity, activity. So the reason people want to create banks is so that if your car breaks down or you have to go buy your new car and it ends up taking all day because you have to get the title, tags, and license, and you have to go to the bank because they want cash. If someone goes to the hospital, if you need to go get groceries and take them home and help grandma because grandfather's in the hospital, if your cat goes to the vet, if something happens with their kids, I could go on. I could talk for probably 10 hours about all of the things that can happen in life that are out of our control and keep us from listing sometimes. And that also includes people with disabilities, such as myself, or chronic illnesses, such as myself. I don't know that I'm going to be able to wait. I want to. I wake up every morning motivated. I want to work. But sometimes my back is like, yeah, I have different plans for you. Or my chronic migraines are like, hey, different plans. So having banks really helps with life. There's 3 different kinds of banks. So you can have a ton of extra photos taken, which I recommend everybody have anyway all the time. When you're working in batch work, like I always recommend and teach, you can just take tons and tons of pictures. So if you only list 10 a day, but you have a pile of 100 jeans and you can watch a movie and take pictures of those 100 jeans or shoes or plush, whatever it is, do it. Just have all those extra photos around. That's one kind of bank. The second kind is having extra listings already built and ready to go so that you can push them out if life were to happen. I use List Perfectly for that. I personally think that's the easiest way to do it. List Perfectly keeps all of your listings in the catalog. And so I can have 200 listings that are just photos and no other information. That's my bank of photos in my catalog on List Perfectly. And I can have another 100 that are actual listings ready to go. That's my bank. And when I'm ready, I can push them out with a couple clicks of a button on many different platforms. But even if you don't use List Perfectly, which you should be, but if you're not, you can still set up these kinds of banks on your own. So there's having extra items photographed, extra listings that are ready to go. They're already built and ready to go. And then you can start scheduling items on eBay. eBay will let you schedule up to 21 days in advance for free. I say for free because back in the day, eBay used to charge you. I think it was like 10 cents a scheduled listing. And we only ever utilized it when we knew we were going to be out doing something and we knew ahead of time we could plan. And then we were just like, this is stupid to spend money. So we started building the bank of ready to go listings we could just push out. But now you can schedule them for free. So we have extra photos, we have listings that are built, and we are scheduled out 21 days on eBay. It sounds overwhelming. It sounds like a lot of work, and it is, and it does not happen overnight, and you can't just blink or snap, or what did the genie used to do on I Dream of Genie? Or Bewitched, she wiggled her nose. You're not just going to be able to do any of that and have it. It takes work. It takes determination. It takes motivation. It takes diligence, and you have to be willing to sit down and do the work. And the way you do it is a little bit at a time. So if you normally sit down with 10 items to photograph, try doing 12. Try doing 15. If you normally sit down at your computer and create 10 listings a day, try creating 12. Try creating 15, but hold those back, right? So do your 10, put them on eBay, and the other 2 or 5 are, can you do 20? What can you do extra? That's how you want to think of it. And the extra stuff you're just going to hold back. That's going to be your bank. Once you have all those extra listings and all those extra photos, because you've been doing a couple extra each day and holding them back, that's when you can start scheduling them out ahead on eBay. So when you go to list today, you can schedule some for tomorrow. And tomorrow, you would schedule for the next day and the next day. Do you see what I'm saying? You would just consistently keep adding on. It takes a lot of work, but you can do it a little bit at a time. It doesn't have to happen overnight. You don't have to have all these banks overnight. They're just something I recommend doing, especially if you have a lot of inventory sitting around your house, rather than going out sourcing and spending time driving from store to store and looking for more inventory. Maybe you just sit down with your desk pile and create all these banks. And again, you don't have to kill yourself to do it. Just add a couple extra items each day. And when you realize that 12 is easy, maybe you would do 15. And when you realize that 15 is easy, you can do 20. If you have a day where you can't, that's fine. That's what banks are for. All right, number 7 is creating a new death pile with intention. So you want an inventory built up with intention. Think of it as your bank of unphotographed, unlisted items. Any business is going to tell you that it is always a good idea to have extra inventory in the back. You don't want to have just enough to sell today. You want to have extra. This is extremely important if you live in any sort of place that has any kind of weather. So if you live somewhere with hurricanes or ice or snow, and you know that's going to affect your ability to get out and source, you want to build up an extra supply. But I recommend everybody have maybe a month on hand at all times. Just do the first in, first out, and create your pile with intention. You're not building a death pile because you're just shopping too much and it's all getting piled up. You're saying, I want to have extra on hand just in case. What if the roads get icy? What if it snows? What if there's a hurricane? So you want to build a rainy day supply of inventory. And I always recommend at least 30 days. I can tell you that when 2020 happened, Keith and I had spent months listing all of the inventory we had. We said no more death pile. We said we're not sourcing until we get everything listed. We did. We had no inventory in the house whatsoever. We were celebrating ourselves, and then the shutdown happened and every single thrift store was closed. So it is a good idea to have some. That is why I will never not have extra inventory. I personally always have 1 to 2 thread-up boxes ordered downstairs, and a box of jewelry, and whatever I'm thrifting once a month, and a couple boxes of comics for him. And he usually has like a game order or 2 of electronics laying around. We are volume sellers and listers, so that sounds like a lot to you, but it's not really to us, especially considering we have all these huge banks built up. But just think, if you list 10 items a day, maybe you want to have 300 pieces of inventory, just as your bonus intentional extra supplies, just in case things happen. All right, number 8, you want to run clearance on old items. So as we're getting out of the summer and going into the winter, you want to maybe run clearance on items that are a year or more older, on shorts and summer-based items, anything that you want to clear out of your store to make room for new. And then you want to prioritize, this is number 9, prioritize your seasonal items. And the way you can prioritize your seasonal items, number 1, is looking through your death pile and pulling out anything that's Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and that includes clothing. If you have party dresses or holiday dresses or men's nice shirts or ties or anything like that that folks would wear to these holiday parties they go to, Halloween costumes, get them out of your death pile and get them listed. Anything that has to do with any of the holidays coming up or fall or winter in general, if it's in your death pile, get it out, get it listed. But go through what's already listed. If you have something that's seasonal coming up that's been sitting for a while, try delisting and relisting it. Try tweaking your title and changing the keywords around. Try adding keywords. You can put holiday on a red dress because people are going to wear to a holiday party, right? So tweak your titles. You can even raise your prices. If something is right now hot, seasonal, you could probably raise your price a little bit, and it also makes it more desirable. Sometimes when buyers are looking through eBay and they're shopping and they see items with low prices, they'll think something's wrong with it. So keep that in mind too. And then the very last thing is to make sure that you are following all of the best practices. So you should be running sales all the time. You should be clearancing out your old items, but you should be running sales on your new items too. If you need to price higher when you first list in order to give yourself that room to run those sales, do so. A sale is a psychological red light to a buyer to buy your item. If my jeans are $20 and they're not on sale, and your jeans are $19.99 and they are on sale, they're going to buy yours first because they see the sale. Sales are definitely a way to get buyers to purchase your items. You want to run short sales because you want to create urgency. You don't want someone to look at your jeans and see, oh, well, they're on sale until September, so I'll come back and buy them later. You want them to see that the sale ends tonight at 6:30 and they're going to buy them now. So run your sales for 2 or 3 days at a time, create that urgency, and play into that psychological need for buyers to get a deal. Run your sales. Also offers. They like offers, especially on Poshmark, but a lot on eBay too. Buyers really like offers, and that will help you increase your sales as well. If you can accept offers or you can send offers out and let them know they're getting a deal. It's the same thing as a sale. And again, you can raise your prices a little bit if you need that wiggle room. If you want to list your jeans at 20 and you would take down to 15, don't list them at 15. List them at 20. Then you have wiggle room. And do some cookie cutter responses for yourself for messages you're going to get from buyers going into not just going into Q4, I should say that. All year long, we get some messages and questions from buyers that you could almost send the same response to over and over. So instead of typing over and over, write it one time, save it on your computer, save it on your phone, and then you can respond to the messages just with copy and paste. And it will save you time. It will save you headache. And an example of that is when maybe they ask you for measurements and it's in the evening, you can send a cookie cutter that says, hey, thank you for your interest in this item. It's after business hours, but tomorrow when we go to our storage unit or however you want to word it, to pull our items for shipping, we'll gladly pull this item and get the measurements for you. Thank you for your interest in this item. We can't go quite as low as your offer, but we can do this off. Just write a bunch wherever you find that you're doing over and over. I have some that I have saved on my phone. I'll actually share them in my Facebook group. It's kind of like a piggyback on this video when I publish it. And hey, if you're not in our Facebook group, you should be. It's Flippin' Hippos Reseller Pod. So those are some tips. Again, I'm going to go over them real quick. Inventory system in place. Shipping station organized and in place. Take notes and order your supplies now. You have your Q3 coupon and your Q4 coming up to get free stuff from eBay. Do an inventory audit. Get rid of your death pile. Create banks of photos, listings, and scheduled listings. Create a new death pile with intention. Make it extra inventory, not a death pile. Run clearance on old items to get rid of them. Prioritize all your seasonal items. Get them listed and get your stale ones delisted, relisted. Tweak your titles and prices. And make sure you're following all the best practices. Run some sales and make sure you're doing offers. You can do free shipping. You can charge shipping. We've done both. They both work. I would absolutely recommend free shipping on Mercari, though. With their new system, buyers are seeing a laundry list of fees when they check out, and that's one less you can take away. Just remember that free shipping isn't really free, so build it into your price. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything you saw in this video, let me know down below, and I will get back to you. Go be productive. Go do these 10 things before we get to October. We have 42 days. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.